All right, hello again. My name is Michael Hart, and again, we are reviewing The Eighth Habit. So, picking up on chapter 6, and this is a great quote. In everyone's life, at some time, our inner fire goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should all be thankful for those who rekindle the inner spirit. Albert Schweitzer. Hopefully, I said that right. This chapter, they go through the biblical account of the talents. I have that all laid out here. Cast the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There's books that talk about the Matthew effect, and they say those who are rich just keep getting rich, and those who are poor just stay poor. To me, that's more... the one guy had one talent. Basically, like, he takes what you have and he doubles it. So you take your one and double it. And binary doubling is powerful. So if it's binary doubling, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, it's pretty powerful. This is great. We must earn a comprehension of the nature and root of the problems we face in organizations. So it's like, you're not going to know until you're on the job. You're not going to know what kind of environment you're in. The oil patch was very much like you had to earn the comprehension. A lot of the work on those pumps was spatial intelligence. The lists and whatnot that I made were to have a checklist to make sure you didn't miss a thing, but how to use a friction wrench and how to tighten things just right, and if you go too tight, it blows things up. Global seismic shifts. So globalization, universal connectivity, democratization of information and expectations, exponential increase in competition, the movement of wealth creation from financial capital to intellectual and social capital, free agency, permanent whitewater. This one's really interesting because this exemplified kind of how work was in many jobs. The noise, the roar, the immediacy and urgency of all the dynamic challenges they face will simply be too great. So it's impossible for people to hear us. What happens when you neglect the heart? So, at the end of the day, you're still a human being. We're all human beings. You can't just ignore yourself, and work is basically the majority of your waking hours. So this chapter had a lot. This book, I am just touching very surface level things and how I make it actionable and useful for myself. But I'm probably missing 3/4 of the great stuff in there. So chapter 7, the voice of influence. Be a trim tab. A trim tab on a boat or plane is the small rudder that turns the big rudder that turns the entire ship. There was a great story I was going to use for training, but I'm no longer at Storagecraft, which is no longer Storagecraft, it's DarkServe. Remember that every time you think the problem is out there, that very thought is the problem. Taking initiative is a form of self-empowerment. I find that to be very true. The key question is always, what is the best thing I can do under these circumstances? And I love this. So the military doctrine of completed staff work. So you analyze it, you come up with stuff, you develop, and then incorporate. Great. I intend to. This is a great story. This talks about a submarine captain. One of his people comes up and says, Captain, I intend to take this boat down 400 feet. So he asks him some follow-up questions and says, give us another 20 minutes to carry out your intention. I intend to is different in kind than I recommend. The person has done more analytical work to the point that he is totally prepared to carry out the action once it is approved. She has owned not only the problem but the solution as well, and she is ready to implement it. Okay, that's well over 5 minutes as well. ThroneWolf.com. Guess I'll make 3 or 4 videos on this one.